Hey everybody, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 48. Today, got a 10-time world champion hanging out with us, so sit back, relax, turn up that volume, throw those headphones on, and enjoy the show. And do Chad and I a favor, go out there and support our sponsors. True Tube Tattoo Supply, Limitless at checkout. Battlebomb.com, Limitless20 at checkout. RollAmongUs.com, Limitless20 at checkout. Magic City Brewing Company, located in Akron, Ohio. All those sponsors, they support our show, give us the ability to put this show on the air each and every week. So without them, we can't do this. We appreciate them greatly, so please support them. So I want to do a shout out to the individual that was so meaningful to get us our very first buy coffee on this show. It's been awesome. It was great. We appreciate you so much and everything that you're doing for us. Now enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I hope all you guys are doing well out there, taking care of yourself and doing what you need to do for your family. Today, we have an amazing guest with us. He is a 10-time world champion, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under I mess that up every time, Professor Draculino, which he received in 5 years of training and is also recognized as the one who created the Berimbolo Jiu-Jitsu technique. He is the owner and lead instructor at Gracie Baja School in Knoxville, Tennessee. He is none other but the legendary Samuel Braga. Thanks so much, man, for joining us. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, for sure. It's a sunny day. And we're moving. Nice. Yes. That's awesome. How's your day going so far?
It's been going well. It's really going well. I love it. I mean, I like to be busy, and today is being like one of those typical days, busy day. And time goes by faster when you're busy. That's what I like. For
sure, definitely. Did you train today? Did you get some training this morning? Nice.
Yeah, we start with the 6 a.m. training, and then follow up with I have like a private class, which is like allows me to train a little bit extra as well. Then I train at 11 as well, a little bit, so I got some extra in that time.
Nice.
So it's been good. It's been good.
Awesome. He's nonstop.
That's good though.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's so good. So, I forgot what I was going to tell you. Let's do this, Sammy. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself, your jiu-jitsu background and stuff?
So I'm originally from Brazil. I mean, I started with actually one of my professor student, Eric Vanderlei, which is also a world champion on a black belt level and every belt level, I think every single belt as well. Start off with him, and then I want to be more professional and train even more. So he had just one class a day. So I want to add more class or add more training in. So I started training with Draculino, so I was training twice a day. And then with him, I was Draculino, being my whole life with Draculino since the white belt. I'm here in Knoxville, which run a school. I'm here all day as well. So I always be all day.
Right on.
Called the jiu-jitsu rat, I guess.
That's good. You know how the rule goes. Like, you're not going to get better. This would be for everybody else out there, like myself as a white belt. You're not going to get better unless you put the time on the mat, right?
Oh yeah, like anything else, that's what you just taught me. One of the most important things you just taught me was like, if you want to be good at anything, if you want to be good at anything you want to do, you want to be good and excel. You have to put the work. You cannot like slack on it.
For sure, definitely. I tell people all the time, like when we get into, the jiu-jitsu conversations are always different when you talk to people that don't do it or are in a martial art, let's say, even, or get grappling or anything. But how, like, for you and Chad as well, you guys have done it for so long. I always like this, get your perspective of how has that changed your life in other areas? Like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I know. Jiu-jitsu definitely impact your life overall. I believe that you just got me confidence, which is the confidence one of the main things that is going to set you apart from anybody else, right? Like, sure. I had this kid today, which is really interesting. And coincidences enough where I can share this story with you guys. And he came to me, he's like, man, I'm nervous today. I was like, why are you nervous? Like, man, I have a job interview. And he's a phenomenal kid. He's really disciplined. He's young. He's like 19, 20. And he's like, listen, you should not be nervous or have any type of anxiety. And he's like, why is that? It's like, listen, what you do every day, waking up 5 a.m., do a workout, come here and train at your young age, and you succeed you got like college scholarships and everything through your athletic background and your hard work. I'm an employer, right? So if you get a young kid like you and come to me and say, hey, I've been working hard, grinding my whole life, and I want this job because I know I'm different than anybody else that's candidate here. Why? Because my whole life I'm an elite. I'm elite level, an athlete. I've been working hard. I mean, I work out at 5 a.m. And once you tell that you want to work out, you thrive to succeed, and you're excited, you're a team worker. And I mean, that's all they want to know. I mean, that's all they want to hear. You know, you're going to get the job because you're young, you have a lot of potential, and you're eager to learn, and you're eager to work hard. So who would be stupid somebody not to hire you?
Sure. Yeah, no, 100%. And that's good on you because I love to hear it in terms of like, that's how you're coaching. So the younger people understand that this is a huge thing for them to get. Like in jiu-jitsu, it's going to help you land an interview. It's going to help you get a job because of the way you react and the way that you're taught, like on a mat and stuff like that. That's one of the transitions I've told people about jiu-jitsu in general. Outside of it, I'm like, it's not just about grappling. Yes, it's great, and we love to do it. Like it does take what I would say some special people that like to get in there, and you know what I mean? But it translates to your life. It translates to how you treat people outside of jiu-jitsu and you know, jobs and family or whatever. Right. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Very cool. Chad, you would have the same, like that's the same perspective for you too, right? That you said over years and stuff like that. Yeah,
absolutely. I think it changes how you think of you know, stress in your life or things that are the way you handle things in your life. I think jiu-jitsu helps all of that. Right. And then I think confidence, like Samuel said, confidence is one of the biggest things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Do you think, would Samuel, you say competition makes you different?
Oh yeah. I mean, because you have to handle the level of stress, right? Because every time you go into competition, you get out of your comfort zone, right? Because you go there and you prepare yourself and you deal with anxiety, you live a lot of emotions that at that time you have control your emotions, the most important thing. Now you cannot get overexcited, cannot be over aggressive. You have to keep yourself in a level where you can think logically in the most stressful situation and be able to like, because it's different from training. Why is that? Because you've been tested. You know, when you've been tested, you always going to be, you know, the anxiety and fear helps you to prepare yourself better. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, when you go to a hunt, and if anybody hunt, you have adrenaline down. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, the preparing yourself at that moment, right? It's like, hey man, can I take the shot, you know, and so forth, right? You know, the same thing applies in anything. You know, and when the job interview, this kid was like, oh man, I don't know what I'm going to say, what am I going to do? And majority of times, you know, competition, you're going to do that a lot, and you're going to get used to dealing with the stressful situations like job interview or going to anything that you have to deal with. You're going to involve the most like emotional time. They're going to bring adrenaline to the highest level, and you'll be able to control that and be able to think logically what to do or not to do. That's what I think of for competition as far as competition goes.
Did competition get better for you as the more you competed, as in your feeling, or did you always have that the same?
Yeah. Yes. I think so too. I mean, the more you compete, the more confident you get. You know, you're going to more be used to the situation, and you're going to be more confident as well, right? Because then you're going to be confident in your skill sets. Because I mean, you develop your skill sets at white belt, and you not necessarily, that's what the competition is for, to test yourself against people there, not only inside of the gym. You know, you want to test your technique, your game against different peers, right? So that for me is important as well. And the more confident and calm you are, the more you're going to perform better.
Yeah, that's huge. And Terry, we can see that at our level, even like with guys at the gym, as they compete, they get the confidence. Yeah. We have some white belts. We have one white belt. He's a 4-stripe white belt, Trace, that's in a year and a half, 2 years, he's got over 60 matches at white belt.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
And because he just competes and competes and competes.
All the time.
And you can just see it grow every time. And Tyrese, the last time he competed, you can just see those guys get that confidence with a win here. And, you know, it's huge.
Yeah. I mean, it's super important. Let's win a white belt. That's one set me apart. because I competed a lot as a white belt. I want to get as much competition as I could under my belt. So when I got to, I was still not satisfied because I was not performing as I was training. So I was like, man, I have to compete more until I get the comfort zone where I can logically think about my match. And during my match, I can strategize and can troubleshoot and perform at my best. So when I go into competition, I want to, for example, have a game that I had in mind, what I needed to do to win, and also be super strategic about as far as like when to sweep, when not to sweep, what position I have to use during my competitions that would be more likely to perform well. So until that blue belt, I felt like I was doing really well, but not as well as I could have done,
Sure. Oh yeah. Well, there's always room. I mean, in life, there's always that room for improvement that we want. You know what I mean? Is there a out of all your competitions, is there one particular time when you were like surprised? When you got on the mat, so to speak?
Yeah. So there was a competition. So that marked my career. It was in a blue belt. My first competition in a blue belt level. So I had this guy from my hometown, and he was in my weight division, and he was like one of the guys that are my main competitors. Okay. So what happened is I was like, you know what? This guy was talking a lot of stuff to my friends because he had friends in common that he was going to crush me, whatever. And I prepared myself. I didn't take that lightly. I just prepared myself really well. I didn't say, no, man, that's good that he's really confident. Because I beat him in a white belt. So you would say when a blue belt is going to beat me because he was really prepared. So we went to that was like 3 or 4 months later after the competition. And I say, I need to perform like I do at the gym because I was improving so much. And I have a set of techniques that I always use in training. I was successful at it. And my main goal is like, I have to hit this move. If I hit these moves in a competition, there's no way for me to lose, because I was training the guys that are like national champions at the time and world-class athletes, and I would be able to survive with them. So I was like, man, if I can do what I do at the gym, it would be good. So anyhow, this competition was the mark where I was able to perform with calm and logical thinking, right? Instead of just going crazy and try to use it like a lot of scrambles and stuff like that. I was really methodical with my match. So I pulled guard really fast and I swapped him. And the funniest thing is, like, as I swapped him and I got in a position that I was really strong getting the half guard, and I locked his hips down. And he's like, dude, the funny thing is, dude, you improved a lot. He told me in the match. And I was like, man, thank you. I say, thank you. And that was it. That for me, one of with my performance. And this was like in Brazil, you had like trials for the world championship. So you could you could not just go to the world championship. You had to go to trials or be a state champion, national place in the nationals, or place in the world championship, be able to compete. Okay. So and then it was just like they call trials. So I went to the trials and I beat him in the trials, and I was like, man, that's awesome. And I felt really confident because I was able to execute my game plan and exactly like I wanted to.
Nice. Do they still do that? Do they still have the trials like that still?
No, not anymore. I mean, now to qualify in a black belt, you have to get points, right? There's a point system. Okay. You have to get a minimum amount of points to complete in the black belt level. I don't think the color belt they have like.
I don't think so. No.
Yeah, requirement, in type of requirement.
So is that, and Chad, I've heard you talk about this, and I've never really been engaged in deeper conversations about it. That point system, is that based off of like doing so many tournaments? You get so many points for doing so many tournaments? Is that how that works?
I think so. I'm not sure how they do it at the black belt level.
Okay.
So basically what you do is like you go into the opens, right? Opens, pans, and nationals, all those tournaments, they have like a point system. Okay. And according to they have a weight to it. Like, for example, some points are getting more points, some terms are going to get more points, some other terms are getting less points.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. Like I see.
If you combine your points, it hits 27 points, I believe.
And they have to all be IBJJF certified? Those
yes, we
tournaments,
all
right?
IBJJF opens. Yes.
Okay. Which obviously, and I know some of this stuff. So the ADCC, obviously, no gi, it's totally different. They still hold trials, but it's a totally
there's
different.
a trial. They're gonna have a East at West Coast trials now in Vegas on the 2nd, 3rd April, I believe.
Yeah.
That's going to be crazy. I bet that trial's.
Oh man, I'm so excited.
Are you going? You going, Samuel?
I'm coaching one of our students here.
Awesome.
Yeah, Baby Joe. He's an awesome athlete. I mean, he's really technical as well. And Dan is also helping him out too. And you've been working together with him. Dan is a phenomenal guy. He's being such a blessing in community here.
When you see where jiu-jitsu has come now, like when you see ADC stuff, and it's phenomenal. Like I like all jiu-jitsu, obviously, gi, no gi, whatever it is. I'm traditionally a gi guy because I'm older. I have to slow the people down, as Chad would say. That's right. I feel much better there. But like you've seen it, you guys both, and Chad and I have talked about this before, like the evolution of it. Is it surprising to you, like how good it's gotten? And I don't want to say it was ever bad.
Well, I think like the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, I was talking to some of my friends, is like there's no, like, you cannot limit the improvements, right? So what I mean by that is that you cannot limit the amount, like, for example, the techniques. Like judo, 1 year, for example, there was a lot of double legs, single legs as a takedown, right? So what they did is they unrolled that, right? So they said, okay, you guys can no longer use single leg, double legs anymore in judo. So they put a lot of rule sets there. So what that does is that limit the creativity, right, in the evolution of the sport. Because when you have, that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, you have a problem. For example, everybody has a problem with the 50-50. Well, now you should solve that problem and find ways out of it, right? And the one point, it was like really polemic about that. There was a huge like back talk about this, about the 50-50, and if you should like have time limit. There was speculating of a lot of things to be able to not make it so annoying per se, right? And really stalemate. So, but if you do that, what happened is you render the sport from evolving, right? Because majority of the people that go there is a ways of out of it, the position. And there's a lot of guys that really well. There's the guy called Mateus Gabriel. He does a lot of arm bars from there. Hudson Mateus. There's some phenomenal guys that have submissions from that position. But some of the guys opt in to get in those positions. You know, those true guys are there because they want to be there, because they think it's a safer way to win the match. Right. You know what I mean? Okay. In a strategic way. So I believe that that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, and the same things involving the no-gi aspect, because there's nobody rendering the sport, say, hey, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do this. You know, it's just free. It's totally free to work in different techniques. And if you see there's a mic lock now, there's all kinds of different techniques and being in the game. And the people train all day. I mean, I know Mikey, and he trains all day. He puts he puts so much work on the mats, and he's so dedicated. And more likely he's going to come up with different positions, different ways, or different techniques, right? Sure. So that's the beautiful thing, that you're always going to see evolution of the sport.
Sure. Yeah, I was just talking about Mikey this past week on the mats. He came up and we were talking about his the way he breaks down things too.
He's a genius.
And like when you see him roll, it's or compete, I would say, not just roll, but he's methodically thinking, and you can see it when he goes versus. Go ahead, Sam. You're good.
He's a perfectionist. I mean, I trained Mike so many times. You know, we're good friends. And
nice, awesome, very cool.
So we train. Like I tell people sometimes, the amount of time that we put on the mats together, on a daily basis. We used to, and people don't actually believe it. Yeah, we did like 8 hours a day of training.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, it was like right before the World Championships and stuff like that. He's really obsessed. I mean, one thing about the jiu-jitsu guys, jiu-jitsu, I mean, if you think about it, like some guys are, of course, they're making money now with the DVDs, BJJ Fanatics and so forth. But
sure, yeah.
You think about like comparing with other sports like boxing, MMA, and now he's hopefully getting a professional. Gordon Ryan is pushing that. You can say whatever you want to do about Gordon Ryan, but he's really pushing to the sport to be more professional.
Mm-hmm.
And
definitely. Yeah.
Athletes now are getting paid, right? So jiu-jitsu is the last one of the few sports that you making almost nothing. If you go to IBJJF tournament, you get to going for that for the prestige, right? More likely you're not going to make money unless you're going for seminars and DVDs, so forth. But that being said, the passionate athlete in jiu-jitsu spend 8 hours, 10 hours a day training and barely making, paying their bills. Look at Patigo, look at those guys.
Yeah.
Live on the mat, struggling, eating once a day, Panda Express. I mean, what life is that, What athlete does that?
Right.
Yeah.
So unprofessional is so kind of at the same time, disheartening. I mean, so what I think it should do, it should have a professional league, even if IBJJF wants to do that. They used to do that. But you do have a professional league where they have like this caliber, it should be monthly or every 2 months, have a professional league. We have the black belts, or even now everybody's professional by the time they're blue belts,
Sure.
More time they put on the mats. So I'm not going to only limit it for the black belts, but I think there should be tournaments that would be like money, right? And it should be short, like the average World Pro does that. But I'm thinking about like those guys should receive way more than that they're making today, because I mean there's a lot of effort, sacrifice that you put on a sport, and what you get in exchange, if you get a good Instagram running with a lot of followers and you have like a sponsor, you're doing right. You have like probably like a salary of like $2,000 perhaps,
sure.
right?
Sure.
Which is not bad, but like in comparison to other sports, like it's so. The sport is growing.
Yeah, it's night and day.
I believe that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's night and day compared to other sports. And
yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And it's great that I love the push of it, obviously. And I'm sure, Chad, you're probably obviously a big fan of the push. And you guys have both been in it for so many years to see the recognition, and we've told people before, they've asked us, why did you guys start a podcast talking about jiu-jitsu, and it was like, well, we want to spread that. We want to be a part of growing a community that should be growing. And there are guys that constantly dedicated your life. Samuel, you're one of them. You've dedicated your entire life. You're teaching now. You have your own gym. We want people to be recognized and to get their due. I want people to invest in the worth of those people that we are talking to and the people that they see around the world that are doing this, because it's one of the hardest things anyone will ever do in their life out of any sport in the world.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to do this. Obviously, that's why it takes so many years in order to progress and to get good and to be able to be on a highly competitive level. And I kind of fell in love with that part of looking at it going, wow, these guys are killing themselves and they're really not getting anything for it. And all these people in the world are benefiting from it, but the athletes themselves.
Yeah.
So I can be selfish in that way, but I also have a new BJJ family, so it's also different now. Like I'm like, no, I'm on, like you were saying, the instructional DVDs, and Chad and I have talked about this too. Like, was it a shock to you ever when that part started to grow? Like, oh, everyone's shooting out an instructional and everyone's trying to
I mean, it used to be like BJJ Fanatics, like it was fun that like, I'm going to do a short story here. So
good.
4 years ago, I contacted Bernardo. Bernardo is really entrepreneur guy. And I was talking to him because I had like this BJJ bracelets that I was doing like a lot of jewelry at the time. And I had this BJJ bracelets, right? So I was doing the BJJ bracelet. He has the BJJ Deal. That's his name of his store. He had a store called BJJ Deal. And I contacted him. I said, hey, Bernardo, I love your idea and your store about giving people like nice deals. And it's like, man, you probably do making really well. He's like, man, no, I'm actually shutting down the website. I'm going to start doing DVDs. I was like, well, really? Man, there's a lot of everybody goes to your website, maybe you should do a side business. I mean, I was like, no, man, I'm going to completely focus on this, and explain kind of briefly to me. And I was like, okay, man, no problem, man. Good luck. That was like when I was starting the BJJ Fanatics. So before that, in 2012, I did my first DVD, right? With the good old videos. They were super nice to me, pretty professional. But at the time, you get like a little bit of money up front, right? You have a little bit of money up front, and then they give you royalties.
I see.
So you don't get a share of it.
Okay.
So you get paid royalties. Once you get that money up front, which is not compared with the guys that are making now, it's not even close with,
Sure.
And you get royalties after that. I mean, royalties, I made a good money off royalties. If I was making 50-50 at the time, like, or even sometimes, I don't even know, I assume it'd be 50-50, whatever, 40-60. I don't know what the percent, the percentage is, but let's assume it's like 40%, 30%, compared to royalties, it's just unbelievable, right? The difference. I mean, if you imagine the guys, Gordon Ryan, he says he makes like 300,000, 400,000. I don't know how much a month that he makes off those instructionals.
Off instructional, sure.
Yeah. So, can you imagine? You can buy a house right off the first month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he's an exception to a lot more now too.
Oh yeah, I would think that too.
Yeah.
Is that
the money up front? I'm sure is a lot more now too.
Oh yeah, it's definitely. Especially a guy like him.
Yeah.
So like he's like probably one of the top sellers there.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine. Definitely. Yeah, with BJJ Fanatics, he probably is. And he's grown that obviously over time and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Which I say good to each and every one of the top guys that are selling and doing what they need to do in order to bring the dough in.
Yeah. Yeah. Also good for the sport, because we're talking about the monetary aspect of it. But the sport evolved a lot too. Those instructions. Sometimes there was a guy that joins our gym, right? He's a really nice guy, phenomenal guy, and you look at him training, you can tell like pieces of each DVD.
Oh yeah.
You look at him. Okay, this is the instructional right there. This is this one, but it's in a good way. Because if people are like getting information and they improve their game, and the jiu-jitsu is evolving, right? Because
sure,
you can evolve from there, which is like a basic layout of your jiu-jitsu, and it can from there grow,
Speaking of evolving, so the Berimbolo that you're credited with, doing that jiu-jitsu technique, was that something that you just started doing and then other people seen it, and like how'd that all work?
So what it started at was that I did in a competition, right? 2005, you cannot be recognized for something unless you're doing a competition on the highest level. I did in the finals of 2005 World Championship. Right after that, in 2008, 2009, I think the Mendes brothers started doing that as well.
Oh, well, okay.
The Mendes brothers are I don't know if they're gray. No, not gray belt. I think they're juveniles at the time. They're like 14 or 15. I don't know. Somewhere around that. Yeah, I know. I think they're like, yes, they're 14 years old in 2005, because in 2007, it was the trials. They were 16, I think, right? Something like that. So they're just how am I have footage of doing the Berimbolo and the black belt level finals, right? What 2005 finals, you can put a footage in there. You can see I have videos and many videos of me doing at the competition, at the World Championship. So I was doing way prior to that. For me to get to a position where I'm doing the technique, right, in a world levels, in the World Championship finals, I probably been doing that for a long time. You cannot just jump in the World Championship finals and do a technique you just started.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Honestly. So anyhow, So that I developed the technique over like troubleshooting, right? Jiu-jitsu, a lot of troubleshooting, getting stuck in positions. So I have really good trained partners. I was really fortunate with that, like Draculinos. And I have a lot of guys, you know, the world-class levels and world-class athletes there. And I'll trap the arm and I'll roll backwards coming to a top position, you know, from the De La Riva. So after doing that, the guys realize, okay, if I hide my arm, Sam won't be able to catch my arm. That makes sense. So they'll hide the arm and spread themselves out. So I could not reach for the arm and sweep them backwards.
Okay.
That makes sense. So they'll prevent me from.
Yep.
Yes. So when that was happening, I was getting stuck in a position I could not go anywhere. So I started like, well, I have to grab something. So I started grabbing the belt so I can, because they're peeling my legs, pulling me off their hips. So I was like, okay, I grabbed the belt and I started to get tied to them. And then I started like, I was going to try to go backwards and they come forward. And as they come in the rocket chair motion, I'll bring them forward and I'll take their back. So I started doing that in training quite often. And I was being really successful. And the guys didn't know what's going on, honestly. They're like, well, they were not familiar with the position, you know? And then Draculino look at me and look at them and say, you guys are so stupid. You guys get in the same position over and over. And the guys, and he's still taking your back. And he's like, I don't even know what he's doing. Honestly, he's trying to prevent this sweep and he's end up in our back. Anyhow, even today, I mean, you look at, you know, Mikey, you know, the Meow brothers also took the Mikey, Meow, and Mendes. They evolved the technique, you know, for sure. You know, this evolution, you know, and especially Mike is so accurate with that. I mean, if you look, I mean, for a guy to do the technique, you know, the precision that he does, I mean, probably one of the most precise Berimbolos out there for sure. You know, it's Mikey. And it's off charts, you know, because he does with like, everybody knows he's going to do it. Think about that. Everybody knows, Mike is going to do it Berimbolo. And he just is so clean. I mean, he did in the finals at the last years.
Yeah.
You know, it was like so clean. I mean, for him to hit in the finals and be so clean, effortless, and be, I mean, so tight and control, you know, the guy is like really, really, really good at it, you know?
Yeah.
So that's the evolution of the sport, man. It's just a beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu. Same thing with the 50-50. But 50-50, I think people support more in a different way, you know?
Did you like the 50-50? Do you like it?
I used to take back. I mean, my positions, majority of my techniques are mainly for back take. I mean, I use 50-50 to take the back so I can lift the leg and do like a crab ride.
Right. You don't see it. You know, these techniques kind of go in waves, right? Where
they call it the meta game, right? The meta game. So they will have lapel, warm guard. Now they have. I mean, the Berimbolo has been a meta game for a long time,
right?
Because it's so effective. You know, you have like the 50-50 still meta because people can just control any type of opponent there,
right?
You know.
Yeah, very few guys are active with that 50-50 game.
Yeah, just a few. Mikey does a lot. The Mendes brothers, Rafael's really good and get to the Berimbolo from there.
Right.
I have to give him that. You know, he did it last time they competed. He did with Marcio André, and the previous year he did with Cobrinha.
Yeah.
Really, really smooth transition.
Yeah. I always liked Ryan Hall was always very active in that 50-50 game too.
Yes, he did a lot of no-gi, so he's really active. Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy how those positions come and go, right? Where somebody thinks like, you know, you were doing Berimbolo back in the day, and then it comes, it's like, oh, this is new. It's not new. It's just
it's
evolving, right?
It's evolving. It evolved so much with the crab ride, and you have like so much stuff from there, you know?
Right. Do you know where did the name Berimbolo come from?
So I think that what the claim is, I mean, I never give a name because you're from Brazil, you don't give a necessarily name to it.
Right.
I think the guys from Atos that start naming them.
Okay.
And it's kind of mixing the cake because you know the rotational motion.
Okay.
It's like bolo it means cake. Berimbolo is probably like mixing the cake. That's basically ideally was the concept comes from.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Go
it's
ahead,
awesome. Well, you always think of this big, like, extravagant answer. It's like, no, you're mixing a cake, right? Like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's awesome and terrible at the same time now.
Yeah, I like it.
I just want to call it Berimbolo because I never want to know now. This will never in my head because I'm gonna be like, ooh, cake.
No, I like
carrot cake.
Yes.
I like it as a coach because now I'm just gonna yell at my guys to mix the cake, not bolo, right?
Not bolo,
Yes.
yeah.
Do the cake.
Yes. That's awesome. That's very cool. It is. It's funny, Samuel. I usually watch, who's number one or fight to win on Flow Grappling and all that. And Chad and I will always be texting and stuff. And I'll ask him, what was that move? And he's like, well, way back it was called this, but I'm not sure now, but this is what it is.
Yeah.
Or,
And
he's always tells me the same thing.
rebranding, right? I mean, like for the footlocks, and then, the Danaher's, make it more popular and have the Japanese traditional names,
right?
I mean, and cross ashi, whatever. So that also rebrand the footlocks, heel hooks, to become more like, which is came like from Japan, originally.
Sure.
And there's some footage of it, being done that back in a long ago. But I think that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu also is like if you use a catch name, right?
Sure.
And you can market it really well. Like you remember that Eddie Bravo was doing techniques from wrestling, but he rebrand them and systemize them to become like really, really popular. I mean, it became really popular,
Yeah.
And even in positions like, different positions like a tornado guard. I mean, it was used by Roleta back in the day, in many other positions. They're always rebranding and refresh, and that makes them more enticing. Being, oh man, they just came out with this technique. No, maybe the technique was there, but just being rebranded in a different way too.
Just rebranded, yeah.
It's like the Leche guard, right? A lot of people call that Coyote guard, and there's all kinds of different names. I've had my students ask me, well, what, they confuse the two. I'm like, no, it's the same thing pretty much. Guys have different things they do off of it, but it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. The concept, like there's something I was talking to the students today, like sometimes you'll focus so much on the technique and positional, then actually, if you go back and focus on the concept itself, it doesn't matter what position you're in, what angle you are. If you focus on the concept, it can be majority of the time be translated any other position,
Yeah, definitely. Did your game evolve as you did, Samuel? As in, did you change because you were like age changing and stuff?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, my game is like totally different now. And no, my bottom game is still similar. My top game definitely changed a lot because when you're young, you're more like, you're not reckless. You tend to move more,
It's okay to say reckless.
You're moving in a faster pace and, try to outpace the person sometimes and get into certain positions and angle in a different way. Nowadays, I'm more methodical and like in a certain extent. But for me, I want it to be more precise. I'm not focused so much in many movements. And now I'm focused on the minimal movement in the most efficient way.
Sure.
That's my goal.
That probably, I'm sure that saves on strength and injuries, right? Taking care of yourself more.
Yeah.
And
I'm also, nowadays, I'm more selective also with the people I train with. I try to train with my higher rank students and people that are closer to my size as well. And actually, Dan comes here and we train. It's just have a phenomenal experience because we like to share and talk about and brainstorm techniques. And I have a couple guys here, Baby Joe, and my train partners as well. So we have a lot of guys that come in the gym that I'm really selective nowadays because you have to be. I tell the guys all the time, if you're not selective, you just roll with anybody and just, if you some people don't like that, I mean, on myself, I try to be smart about my training. It's not about train hard and crazy. It's about to be smart about your training so you can improve and keep. You know, I'm looking at as a marathon. I'm not looking to a short-term goal. You know.
Sure. No, go ahead, Chad.
And you have to be smart, like you said, because it's your livelihood too. This is how you make a living, right? So you have to. You're a smaller guy, right? I mean, you have to be careful. It's not that you can't handle bigger opponents. It's just that wear and tear on your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be exactly. You put it in a perfect way. You know, you have to, because as soon as you realize, I mean, you're teaching classes and you're rolling sometimes. Imagine the guy does a really crazy move, spaz out and twist your knee. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to be with that knee, like, you know, inflammation in your knee. You're going to be swollen. You know, how are you going to teach and train next class, you know?
Yeah. I've talked to it. I'm sure you know Christian Woods-Manzi. We've had him in several times for a seminar, and he's a little dude. Like, I'm talking 125 pounds. And one of my students is like, why doesn't he roll with anybody? I'm like, it takes one wrong move, right? And
exactly.
Even if it's an unathletic, oops, I'm sorry, I fell. That's it. You're
be ACL, you know.
Yeah, your seminars are done. You're laid up for a while, and that's how you make money.
Exactly.
Even like on the other side of not, you know, even me being older, at first I was all gun ho about like, I'd roll with everybody and anybody.
Yeah.
And then Chad was like, don't do that. So then I stopped, because then I was like, oh, now I get it. Like, I do, like, I'll literally, if I don't see like a certain people or someone around my area or weight or age or something like that, I'm like, nope, I'm not rolling. Like, I'll just sit out around, because I'm just not going to do it. I have 3 kids.
That's not worth it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to not be able to do other things. I love training. I'm not a high competitor. You know, I've never competed yet or anything. So I have to take care of myself at the same time, you know? So yeah. I'm still a spazzy white belt at times, but not nearly like I was.
Hey, train smart. This is the best way.
That's what I do now. Train smart. Hey, Chad, what's a match that out of Samuel's 10 times of winning the world championship, do you remember any match that like stuck out to you?
You're putting me on the spot. Not no.
Who is your greatest opponent of all time, Samuel, do you think?
The greatest opponent, I tell everybody, the greatest opponent of your time is yourself.
Yeah, there you go. See?
Good answer, yeah.
That's a very good answer. Because and I've told people this before, I do like, you know, some coaching and try to encouraging people and stuff like that. I always say you're going to beat yourself before the person on the mat's going to beat you.
Exactly.
Before you walk out there.
So true.
You know.
It's so true. It's so true. Yes. You're totally right. Because the majority of the time is people go on a mat, doesn't matter who they're facing, right? I mean, some people, they thrive in a challenge. Some people shy from challenge.
Sure.
So it's just all on themselves. And I've seen guys that train. I mean, you have guys that here at the gym, they're killers. I mean, when they go to tournament, they get shy about it, you know? Another way, I've had some guys, they're here in the gym, they're super chill. When they go to the tournament, they're like a beast mode, right? You know? So it's hard to, that's why I tell people all the time, the toughest opponent is going to be yourself, your head, how you prepare, not only physically in this room training a lot, but how you prepare yourself mentally to be there, you know?
For sure. 100%. Yeah. It's not just any training you do is not just, it's not just the technique and getting on the mat. It's also a mental process. Like I encourage people now that I know and being involved with this, like if you can do some kind of teaching yourself a meditation or some kind of mind help, or a coach that can actually hang with you, like a good coach like yourself or Chad, that could just sit and talk about things of going through competition. Like it'll take you longer in your journey of doing things if you get that right mindset, because it's not easy. It's hard, you know, and
at all
to step out there on the mat and all that kind of stuff and everything. So
yeah,
go ahead, Chad.
I think that, you know, we keep talking, bringing up evolution. And I think the evolution of jiu-jitsu too is, before it was drill, roll. And now people are, you know, let's rest a day. Let's have a mindset day where we do meditate or we do some yoga or different things. So I think the game has changed in that way too.
Oh yeah. I mean, the preparation, I mean, now you have some mental coaches as well that went up there, nutritionists. They're like become more mainstream.
Sure.
And I tell the guys like anything you do, give an edge. Like if you have a mental coach, if you have like a nutritionist, you know, a strength conditioning coach, that's gonna improve you. You're gonna set you apart from the peers.
Sure,
so anything you can do to get the edge of the game, to improve your game like overall, it's a win. It's investment. And that's one thing about George St. Pierre. To study him, he was a really smart guy, right? Why is that? Because he have like his coach, BJJ coach had like Sean Danaher. His striking coach has this guy in this. They have the best guys in which scenario that you want to face a guy in. And of course, he have like his nutritionist, you know, has strength and conditioning. So he'll surround himself with specialists, you know, the high and most condecorated specialists in each area. So that also is important, right? So you have so I tell people all the time, they can prepare them physically and be a really sharp killer. And then it goes to the tournament. I mean, he cannot even perform half of what he does because he's not mentally ready or confident or whichever might be the situation that his mind is playing tricks on him, you know?
I think that's helped evolve the sport so much too, versus like when you Sammy, when you started, that stuff wasn't even thought of or talked about. You know, Chad, the same thing for you. Like it was, it was so long ago when that kind of stuff oh, we don't do that. Like we just train. We just train and go compete. Like there was not anything.
I mean, in my time, like because of Margarita, I mean, I had a conditioning coach. I have like a nutritionist, and my mental health was based on like, I do a lot of go to the church, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
So for me, praying, like reading the Bible prior, give me a little bit more confidence and comfort, you know, like spiritually and mentally.
Nice.
So that because you have to find something that is going to give you like, you know, like
you want that internal motivation. Yeah.
It's like confidence, you know, and you want to be like relaxed, right? If you go there super tense, super nervous, I mean, it's going to be hard for you to perform, honestly. And sometimes have doubts, right? So, now you put a trust in someone higher, you know, higher power that, and then you calmer, you know, and then anything that can give that to you, you know, in a sense is going to be positive.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Yeah. Anything outside of, you know, beyond that. And when you put your heart and your inner spirit and you listen to that part of it and you understand it and you accept it, it's going to lift you higher and know that you're going to be okay. You know, no matter what the outcome is, but it's also going to help you.
Yes. To overcome the hardship.
To overcome that hardship for sure, man. Very cool.
So we were talking about, you know, you coming up, Samuel, when you did. Tell us a little bit about the room that you came up in Gracie Barra and how, if people don't know Draculino, how intense that guy is.
Yeah, I mean, Draculino is a super intense guy. He always fired everybody up to get like to the next level.
Right.
You know, our room was like super intense. I mean, I'll go there knowing that it'll be like a world championship training, or it was like just like fighting world championship. So I never felt like, okay, I'm gonna relax today and just move around. No, there's no such a thing. If you go there with a mentality there, you're going to get crushed.
Yeah.
So I go there and I was like, get myself fired up, listen to AC/DC before getting there, and it's just fire myself up. And if you had an injury, you cannot show you had an injury. If you like not slept well, you cannot tell anybody you didn't sleep well because people come after you even harder. So, which was good because, you know, you're mentally ready for any competition, you know.
Sure. Right.
And Draculino was an intense guy. He pushes to the limit every single time. And we knew also that if you want to win, you want to be the last one person on the mat. And that's what you aim for every single time you win there, you know.
Yeah, 100%. Because I don't know. Who else started training with you? Were there guys that are still around today that
I mean, we have like, especially Draculino, we have a lot of guys. I mean, Romulo Barral was my generation. You know, we have some other guys that still teach in Brazil that they won big tournaments as well. You know, we have a lot of people in the game, still in the game. You know?
Nice. Do you get to go back to Brazil often?
I go there. I mean, I go there once a year. I try to go once a year.
Okay.
Last year I went to, 3 years ago I went to Brazil. Last year not so much. This year I plan to go there. But now with this, I think once they lift the restrictions and then all this craziness, which are being done right now, and make the traveling much easier for everybody. You know, I will be probably going there. I have to go there to Brazil and take care of some stuff. I like to go to Brazil to see my friends as well.
Sure. Good.
You know?
Good. I always like to hear that you're able to go back to, to see, I mean, that's your roots, that's,
yeah. I mean, it's not that, I mean, if I want to go to my roots, I usually go to Texas, because Draculino is there,
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the one I usually go. Yeah. Draculino is in Texas now. He has a school there. And some of my friends still run the school there in BH, which is, I like to go there sometimes and enjoy, like, see my old friends,
Nice. Go roll around with them on the mat and get sweaty.
Yeah. That's the best part.
Yes. How long have you had your school in Knoxville?
So I have a little bit over, time goes by so fast, like 11 years.
Wow. Nice. Awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. You've had good. Yeah. Time goes fast though. Like you guys were saying.
I mean, I had this kid coming in to visit me, and he started with me with 7, then he trained to 11, 12, I think. I don't know. So he came back, he's a D1 wrestler now.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. So it was really nice to see him. At the same time, it made me feel so old because 10 years later.
Is he still training, or is he just wrestling?
Oh, he's a full-time wrestler.
Okay.
Full-time wrestling. So he's a wrestler full-time. And I'm really happy for him, because what people think that for me, one of the most important things, I don't necessarily care. I do care, of course. I wanted the guy to be a world champion, but like for me, the person to be successful and use Jiu-Jitsu as a platform is one of the most important thing for me. So if you get the work ethic and discipline and everything that you need from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and you go and be the best you can be in a different area in your life, and you're like, okay, Jiu-Jitsu helped a lot in that aspect. That's what I accomplished the goal, right?
Sure. Yeah, that's perfect. I mean, that really, that resonates with, what we've talked about throughout the show, the evolution and whatnot. But I think it's so important that people understand that jiu-jitsu is not just this like fight club, like mean, angry thing where people are going to beat up each other. It is
just
actually
beat each other up, right?
Yeah. I mean, we do. Don't get me wrong, listeners, like everyone out there that does train in jiu-jitsu or grappling, you understand that we do get after it and we do get after each other, but we also care about each other, and we want people to succeed in life, and we want them to take this skill and implement it in their day-to-day activities, because it's going to change you. It changes your life. And Samuel just talked about it. Like, he's got a student now. Hey, he may have not been a D1 wrestler if he didn't have that time with you, those, 6 years of younger time where you were able to teach him.
Yeah, because he started wrestling. He was already inclined to be a wrestler anyway, but he started wrestling because he wanted to improve his jiu-jitsu.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
It was mainly to focus, to help his jiu-jitsu. And it just like, I'm so happy because he discovered that. And today he's so successful at it,
That's awesome. And that's just right there. I mean, the future is probably going to be brighter than it would.
Oh yeah. I mean, he has potential to do great things in wrestling, for sure.
Nice. Do you get a good amount of students there in Knoxville? That
we have jiu-jitsu? A good amount. Yeah, we have like good amount, and that was our goal, to spread the art, spread the not only like the martial art itself, but like the passion and the values,
Sure, definitely, man. That's awesome. Yeah, that's good.
That's our goal.
I mean, Tennessee's kind of a hotbed for jiu-jitsu, right? There's a lot of jiu-jitsu there.
Yeah, so we have a lot of gyms now here, now in Knoxville we have like a good amount, but Nashville is growing as well.
Right.
Especially Nashville is growing because like a lot of people are moving from different areas and going to this to the southern states, But like Nashville has Sean Williams there, and they have like some of the other guys there too.
Yeah, I saw Sean Williams just recently moved there, right?
Yeah, he moved there, opened a gym there in Nashville.
Yeah.
Which is like, surprised me, but not surprised me because he was tired of that craziness there in LA. But I think now they're lifting everything up. I think the economy, they realized the economy was going to take a hit.
Gotcha.
So they're like, you know what? Let's just open all doors and abolish all the mandates.
Right.
Deal with it as it goes, and give it back. So
cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very good, man. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys have a good student account and everything's going well. I mean, 11-year gym is nothing to sneeze at. It's a huge deal, especially in the world of grappling. And as you've seen, and we've talked about, it's growing, and it's grown, and it's getting bigger and bigger each and every day. So that's like good.
That's the thing about jiu-jitsu, and hopefully to keep growing, right?
Yeah, hopefully. How about you, man? You going to compete anymore?
Me? No, I have different goals, Like, I mean, when I'm doing something, I'm obsessed about it, right? I mean,
sure.
you like, I don't do something to do just for doing it.
To do it, yeah.
Right. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna for win. I'm not gonna go just there to compete. I'm going for the win. I'm gonna train like 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day to compete.
Sure. Yeah.
Definitely way different mindset, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, people do for fun. It's fun when you win.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it doesn't matter even if you tell yourself you're gonna do it for fun, and if you don't do well, what's gonna happen is you're gonna get frustrated, right? So that fun you initially said you're gonna have, you get frustrated. I see many people come to the gym with that mindset. Man, I'm gonna go to competition. I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna hang out, and then they lose, and they're like, "Oh shit, that was not as fun."
Yeah.
And they get frustrated. So I think
Sammy, people go ahead. I'm sorry.
So people tell themselves that so this way they feel comfortable just in circumstance, a scenario, the outcome to be,
Right.
Yeah.
It's positive, negative. Okay, I was just having fun, whatever. But in reality, everybody cares about it, and everybody especially when you train, you want to win.
Sure. Definitely. Do you think that's a misconception about BJJ?
What do you mean?
What do you think the misconception is? Let's say that.
Well, I mean, I think jiu-jitsu, it's pretty solidified to be a really great martial arts and a good self-defense. I don't think there is any misconception at this point because it's so clear. Sometimes maybe we joke around that people think jiu-jitsu karate, and then Craig Jones started joking around Mexican karate. And it makes total sense because I remember when I came here everybody thought I was a Mexican guy. And then, every time I say, "What do you do?" I teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Oh yeah, my kids do that. It's karate, right? Are you a black belt? I was like, yeah, I'm a black belt. Oh, my kids are black belt as well.
Yeah.
That's the only misconception that we used to have, and actually, Craig Jones actually used that as a joke. And
Mexican ground karate.
Mexican ground karate, which is a really clever thing to do, to say.
Him or whoever's around him are extremely clever with coming up with catchphrases and stuff.
They're phenomenal. The rash guard, my student just got one of the rash guards here. He is like this B team, right?
Yeah.
So he made a rash guard with plan B, which is really clever as well.
It's all about that marketing.
All about the marketing.
Oh, he's phenomenal. He's doing really well because he's doing a funny way and kind of funny and it's catchy, I think he's really doing really well. Really well.
Yeah, and if anyone has a misconception on his jiu-jitsu, just go watch something if you've never seen him. He can joke all he wants. It's jiu-jitsu. It's phenomenal.
It's fun.
So awesome. Well, man, we kept you, Samuel, for almost an hour. Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell all our listeners anything you want, anything you would want to talk about, and tell them how they can find you on social media or in your gym in Knoxville and everything. Cool?
All right. So first of all, I'd like to thank the guys for the opportunity to be here. It was awesome. It's phenomenal.
Definitely, for sure.
We had. What I'd like to just say to you guys is if you do jiu-jitsu or not, you should give it a try. It was one of the things that changed my life in such a positive way. And in jiu-jitsu taught me so many things. One of the things is you embrace your challenge and overcome them. You make yourself stronger. This strength doesn't come from just winning or doing something well. It goes off from failure to failure and becomes stronger. If you look at it, you're building muscles in your body. Even if you work out, you're basically breaking down your muscles, muscular failure, which is going to be rebuilt and become increase the muscle mass and make you stronger. So everything you do is you're going to do in life, in your personal life, and everything is going to be a challenge. It'll be a challenge some point. And jiu-jitsu is going to help you to build the strength, not physically, mentally, to overcome those challenges in life. And not only that, it's a great workout. It's fun, and I'm biased about it, but it's one of the best things I've done. And it just set me to come here to the United States to live in this beautiful country. And that gave me so many opportunities. I made friends. I have my family here, and then nothing's given to you. You have to earn it. That's one thing Jiu-Jitsu taught me as well. So you're not going to come here and would expect to just kick everybody's ass. You're going to have to pay a price. The price can be high. Sometimes it's going to be low. Regardless of it, there's a price for it, and that's what makes it worth it. Thanks so much. You can also find me on Instagram, Samuel Braga GB. I have some techniques that I shared there as well. And I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, and next to Chatters on Kingston Pike. Anybody drop by, everybody's welcome. Anybody from any gym. You're here for Jiu-Jitsu, not for, I represent Gracie Barra, but I'm not necessarily forcing anybody to be Gracie Barra. Everybody can come to any gym, anytime, any moment, and come join us for a fun time in Jiu-Jitsu.
Awesome. Very cool, man. Yeah. So everyone out there, look in the show notes too. It'll all be in there. Samuel's gym, all his social media contacts, and the ability to click on and go to take them to the places that you will need to be to get to him. Very good, guys. Awesome show. Thank you, Samuel, so much for hanging out for you, man. God bless you and your family and everything you're doing, man. Keep up for sure. Keep up the great work. Appreciate it.
Make sure you kick Dan's butt this week for me.
Oh man, Dan is one of the toughest guys.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We didn't talk about Dan.
He's phenomenal, man. He's so technical, and there's one thing about Dan. He has you're gonna meet people in your life have a genuine good energy. You're gonna connect to them really well, and you have a good intent. Intentions. You can just see through how such a good person he is. Sure. And not only that, he's a badass and I'm an athlete.
Which, not to sidetrack, but that is the most craziest thing about jiu-jitsu. We talked about Mikey. I'm sure, Samuel, if people saw you, they would never be like, oh yeah, he's a 10-time world champion in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You know what I mean? You see Dan, you would never know, he could destroy you. I don't care how big you are. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's why the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, never underestimate anybody.
Yes. Yeah. People were talking about Mikey this week when I was mentioning him earlier in the show, and they were like, he's the guy that looks really kind of nerdy, right? And I was like, yep. He's, but I said, honestly, if you saw him on the street, he's you wouldn't even know it, and he could destroy you.
The funny fact here, talking about that, is we were in Vegas. I was competing at Master Worlds, and Mike and I were training. One of my students went there to watch me compete and watch the tournament. And he said, Samuel, how are you doing today? He came to say hi, and I said, hey, this is mikeymusumeci. And then he shook hands with the guy. I said, hey, Samuel, I want to take a picture of a really badass guy. One of the toughest guy here in the room. I was like, right here. And I pointed at Mike. And then he pulled me to the side. He's like, man, I'm serious, man. Stop trolling me. It's like, no, I'm telling you. His guy's, at the time, I think he was 2-3 times world champion. And he's one of the baddest dude here. Yeah. And he's like, okay, let me take a picture of him then. I couldn't believe it. At first you cannot believe how tough and how badass Mike was, because in just judging by the looks,
right? Yeah,
which is so deceiving.
Which is the greatest thing. Everyone out there, as you know, right? Yeah, don't ever judge anybody by what you see. Sit down and get to know them.
Exactly.
So, all right, my friend. Thank you so much again, Samuel. Appreciate it, brother. You take care, and we'll see you. All right.
Thanks, man.
See you, my friend.
Bye bye.